Hello, movie lovers and movie maniacs. Drama Queen here, and today I would like to switch things up a little bit. And instead of doing movie review, I'm actually going to be talking about the CW show The Flash. And for those of you who have not seen this show, I would suggest you check it out. But I would like to discuss some problems that I've had with the series that I bet some of you have probably noticed. But here's a quick little plot of the series. Basically, it follows Barry Allen, a forensic scientist who gets the power of super speed when he's struck by lightning from a particle accelerator explosion. And he uses his powers to fight metahumans and save the world. And The Flash was supposed to be a much lighter and happier series than its previous show, Arrow. Because Arrow had a much darker tone, so Flash was supposed to be a lot happier and a lot lighter. And yeah, Flash had its dark moments, but they always managed to balance those out with humor. Now, the series started to go downhill right near the end of season 5, all the way to season 6, 7, and 8. And in season 5, you realize that, Barry's daughter comes back from the future and tries to help, and she's also secretly working with Barry's enemy, the Reverse Flash, which, again, does not make any sense because if you watched season 1, that Eobard Thawne, also known as the Reverse Flash, was erased out of existence. And they come up with this flimsy explanation on why the Reverse Flash is still around. They come up with this flimsy explanation. They say the more time travel is a funny thing. The more you do it, the less the rules apply to you. But that's a very flimsy response to it, don't you think? But the real problems don't start till season 6. Season 6, the first half is split into like 2 halves. The first half of season 6 focuses on preparing for the event that all the CW shows have led up to this point. Crisis on Infinite Earths. And in the first episode of season 6, the Maunder appears, saying that, in order for billions to survive, the Flash must die. So Barry spends the whole first half of season 6, preparing his friends and family for after Crisis and a world without him, because he was told that he was going to die. And not only are we dealing with that sad thought, but also we have this terrible, villain who is this doctor who suffers from a rare form of blood cancer who injects himself with dark matter, giving him the ability to infect people and turn them into zombies, which in some twisted way keeps them from dying. It was just, the villain was just not written very well. He was just so one note, to say the least. And then here comes Crisis on Infinite Earths, where Barry's supposed to die. And guess what? Plot twist. And for those of you who have not watched it yet, a little spoiler warning. Barry does not die. He survives. So the whole second half of season 6 through season 8, I don't think they know what to do with Barry's character. Because they spent the whole first half of season 6 preparing for Barry getting killed. So the second half of season 6 picks up not long after Crisis, and with another terrible villain, Mirror Monarch, whose whole thing is controlling mirrors. And not only that, Iris gets sucked into the Mirrorverse and replaced with a mirror copy of herself. And so it takes them forever to realize that that's not Iris. And by the time they do, you know, Iris has been trapped in there for months. And on top of that, they come up with the subplot that Barry is losing his speed, and he has a limited amount of speed left, and they're building an artificial speed force, and just the writing went downhill. Starting in season 6, the writing just went downhill. I don't know if they got a new screenplay writer or what, but just, I don't know. Just something's not right. And then, ever since the end of that season, the storylines have gotten really, really dark. I'm not kidding, like, really dark, you know? And season 7 was okay. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but, you know, I don't know. And I want to talk about another plot point. In season 5, they also develop a metahuman cure, which I think is a good idea. I mean, it's not the best idea, but it's a good idea. And so Cisco decides to take the metahuman cure, which, you know, gets rid of his powers, and in my opinion was a terrible idea, because I think Cisco's powers are, you know, no offense to Barry Allen, but I think Cisco's powers were 1,000 times cooler than Barry's powers. And guess what? That doesn't make any sense, because Cisco turns around and invents artificial powers and calls himself Mecha Vibe. So what's the point of you giving up your powers if you're going to give yourself fake powers to still fight crime? And then you have season 8, which was, in my opinion, the darkest season of all. Season 8 is the season we're currently on. Where one of the main villains is called Deathstorm, who is this fire creature who feeds off grief, and he literally burns people alive, feeding off their grief and pain. And he almost turns Caitlin into his bride, which makes no sense. I mean, for a show that started out so lighthearted and fun, the final 3 seasons just got really dark and in not the best way. And you have Caitlin, who's now grown very close to Killer Frost, who they now call Frost. Frost sacrifices her life to save Caitlin, but Caitlin is so unwilling to move on and process her grief that she tries to pull a whole Frankenstein thing and bring Killer Frost back to life, but Barry puts a stop to that immediately. And that's where the last episode that premiered ended, with Barry stopping Caitlin from possibly making a big mistake. But my point is, if anybody can figure out a way for The Flash to be the show it used to be, and a much better, lighter version before the series ends, let me know. And one more thing. I haven't even talked to you about the worst subplot of all. Somehow Iris gets infected with this time sickness. I mean, that's literally what they're calling it, where she slips in and out of the time stream, and she's losing time, and no one's really sure how she got infected with it. It's like they pulled things out of a hat of what would be a good subplot to put into the show. I mean, I feel like that's literally what they did. Because this whole time sickness thing came out of nowhere. I mean, there's no hints in previous seasons that Iris was gonna be all sick with time sickness and just vanish from existence for a while. You know? So if anybody else thinks that Iris's time sickness was ridiculous and made no sense, please leave a comment down below, because I need to know if anybody else feels like that. So, see you for my next video. Bye.